Are micro influencers delusional? That I'm actually curious about. This is from somebody named Robert Tolppi. I think that's how you say it. I remember interacting with him a little bit on TikTok. Seems like a nice person. Let's give it a shot, dude. I think that everybody's delusional, so let's get it going.
I'm Robert Tolppi, and today I'm talking.
Well, sorry guys, his name is not Robert Tolppi, unless he got his name wrong. That's possible too. It's possible that he got his own name wrong, but I think his name isn't Robert Tolppi. Sorry about that.
Talking about micro influencers.
Oh, soup! I messed up. I messed that up.
Hi, I'm Robert Tolppi, and today I'm talking about micro-influencers, people with small followings who strive to make a significant portion of their income on social media. I know many of you saw the title and thumbnail and think I'm going to slander the profession, but I'm not. This video is more of a discussion of an industry that can, at best, be surprisingly lucrative, and at worst, exploitative, where big companies take advantage of people's aspirations for free publicity. So without further introduction, let's talk about micro-influencers.
Okay.
Now, I'm not an expert at social media marketing, so take my words with a grain of salt. But logically, the micro-influencer's natural counterpart would be the macro-influencer. These are individuals who have millions of followers and who appear to be flush with cash.
Charles, who's this? Is this Whoa Vicky?
The wealthiest of these influencers constantly post their designer handbag collections in luxury.
I know who that is. That's Shane Dawson.
But who's to see? Of course, there are smaller influencers who may have a few 100,000 followers. Depending on the platform, you can make a living off a following that size. But how could you possibly make a living with a following smaller than 10,000 people? Could you even call someone with a following that small an influencer? Well, many creators with followings of less than 2,000 people call themselves influencers. Meet Jenna, who has just over 1,500 followers on Instagram and less than 1,000 on TikTok.
Nice.
I found her through this TikTok.
Hey. You gotta live. You gotta dress for the job you want. Am I right? You know, if you want to be a macro influencer, whatever that is, you know, you gotta pretend. You gotta pretend. You gotta act like it. You gotta go into stores and you gotta say, "Do you know who the fuck I am?" And when they say no, you have to just yell violently.
Where she lists the brands she has worked with online.
Brands I've worked with online. I don't even know who the fuck any of these brands are.
Mostly smaller clothing companies. Jenna fits the profile of your average micro-influencer, and that she is a younger woman who posts travel, fashion, and lifestyle content.
So basically, just a woman. That's what all women do. All women post travel, fashion, and all that bullshit. Even then, and they just don't get paid for it. You know, listen, just do yourself a favor. Just post your tits. All we care about. That's all we're gonna say. Okay, just letting you know. I'm just saying, bro.
Following pales in comparison to a following like Kylie Jenner's, for example, she seems to be doing quite well. Her Instagram feed is filled with what appear to be branded posts, but I can't help but notice that none of them are
That's a Bass Pro Shop hat.
Labeled as a paid partnership, which Instagram now requires if a brand is reimbursing you for your endorsement. I can't help but think, how much is Jenna actually making from any of these apparent brand deals if she's getting paid at all? I suspect she isn't. Most of her posts are not paid collaborations.
I feel bad for this girl a little bit because obviously she's renting her Bugatti. You know what I mean? Like she's renting the Bugatti. You get what I'm saying? She's pretending to be an influencer, but I mean, just let the poor woman rest. You know? Because I don't know what it's what I call small content creator privilege, right? Smaller content creators get the privilege of not having eyes on them, so when they make mistakes, it's not as big of a deal. It gives you time to kind of collect yourself and become a good content creator. That's why I'm still small, because I'm not a good content creator. But you got this girl who's got like fucking 700 on TikTok, and you're like, we're shitting on her Instagram posts. I feel so fucking bad.
They're made simply out of hopes that they will foster a partnership with a brand. Many micro-influencers do this despite not getting paid, and companies are not complaining. The social media marketing landscape at the moment is the Wild West. For influencers in particular, there are no unions, no set rates for posts, nobody knows what they're talking about if you tried and research rates, and the people who actually know what they're doing will not share their rates out of fear that they will devalue themselves or breach their non-disclosure agreements they sign with brands. Considering the dearth of information about getting paid as a creator, monetizing a following can be twice as hard as garnering one. As a brand, it's very easy to capitalize on the lack of experience of people just starting out as social media influencers. Companies want to pay as little as possible for content and publicity. Why pay a macro influencer thousands of dollars to promote your brand, or pay for an advertisement from an
thousands of dollars? Probably fucking more than that, brother.
expensive agency when you could just get high quality content for free. The Starbucks Instagram page shows this exploitative practice in action. Most of these photos were taken by micro-influencers, not by professional photographers. According to one of these micro-influencers on TikTok, Starbucks slides into the DMs of someone who posts a pretty picture holding a Starbucks drink and asks for permission to repost it on their official page. They tag the person in the picture, but as far as I know, the micro-influencer whose content is being used by a major brand is not being paid at all.
Who cares? How is that like an abuse? I don't remember the specific word he said, but he made it seem like that was shitty of Starbucks. It wasn't. So Starbucks slides into your DMs and says, hey, can we use this content but we'll tag you in it. And then you go, sure. Where's the problem there? That's a good deal exchange. You're a nobody that took a picture of your fucking coffee and they ask you if they can post it and then they tag you in it and they credit you. I think that's perfectly reasonable. Yeah, at least they ask. I don't even know if they have to ask. But they do. That sounds nice. I feel like, what's the fucking problem with that? I don't understand.
Starbucks does tag them, which may be exciting to an influencer just starting out. Getting tagged, even by a large brand, is not payment enough. The exposure you get...
Why? Why not? Says who? In this instance, you've already done the thing, and you're a nobody, and they're like, yeah, can we use your picture? Why? Why is that not enough? I don't understand. I personally just don't get that. Like, this isn't like it's not even like an internship. It's literally you took a picture of some plant water and they're like, I'll put it up. You know what I mean? I don't, you know what I mean? Like, what does it matter?
Get from a tag is negligible, as very few people will glance at the source of an image in the caption.
Maybe.
So what's happening in situations like this? Brands look for user-generated content from micro-influencers and see if they can nab a photo or two for free. But why don't these micro-influencers simply ask for money from Starbucks for their hard work taking up...
They'll just say no. Why would they do that? Like, why would Starbucks pay them? Somebody else will do it. You know what I mean? I don't think okay.
Beautiful image. You see, for every one person who is experienced enough to ask for money, there are 10 that will jump on this opportunity and give away their content for free. This situation is super favorable for brands, but terrible for creators, as the number of inexperienced people making free content lowers the rates of everyone.
He's a hard work. Gets a fucking photo, brother. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal.
Who actually charges for their work. Beyond a brand just asking for free content, brands may give something in return for making a video. They might send a creator a free lip gloss, a new bikini, or a cute tote bag. While these gifting collaborations may seem generous on the brand's part, they are anything but. Let's say, hypothetically, you're a smaller creator and a huge clothing brand reaches out to you and offers to send you hundreds of dollars worth of free clothes in exchange for a few posts. This is your first brand deal, and you jump at the opportunity out of sheer excitement. You don't know that the brand is exploiting you and everyone at every level of the company. Those clothes they send you might have a high sticker price, but cost the company only a few dollars to make in sweatshops overseas. What seems like a fair trade is nothing more than a company getting dozens.
Listen, bro, I understand that there's like issues in the system. I totally get that, but I feel like a brand is like being like, hey, really small content creator that nobody really knows. We're gonna send you some free clothing and like just advertise it. Oh, okay, cool. Like that's not that big of a deal. Like, I feel like I feel like it's not that abusive. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's not abusive at all. I feel like it just kind of exists. It's not that big of a deal, man. It's really not.
Dozens of posts promoting their brands for very little money. For brands, exploiting multiple smaller influencers may cost significantly.
The word exploit is really being used very leniently.
Less than paying for an ad or hiring a large influencer to reach a similar amount of people. This is not to say that gifting collaborations are always bad. I haven't heard any complaints from influencers who receive a free Apple MacBook or Samsung refrigerator because those are expensive products. The product doesn't necessarily have to be valuable all the time though. Many larger influencers receive things they don't feel like paying for, and a story post isn't usually worth the lengthy negotiation process for payment. But at some point, all influencers should know their worth. Even if your following isn't big, you're still...
Well, yeah, but like, you should understand that as a small influencer, your worth isn't particularly high. It really depends on like the situation. I muted my mic to fart, just so you guys know. And I told you, even though the whole point of muting it was so you didn't hear it. It was loud though. I had to brag about it, sorry. Anyway. Like, I don't know, what is up? Like, if we're using that one girl that like if we're using that one girl as an example of like what a micro influencer is, somebody with like 700 TikTok followers, that's nothing, dude. That's really just like very little. That really isn't like a whole lot of influence, you know?
Working to make content for a brand as an individual and should be paid for it. From watching a few
I would, you could consider me like a micro influencer. That makes sense. Like I'm not like just amazing or huge, but like, yeah, if I did a branded thing, like I should ask for payment because like I get a little bit more views than somebody with a 1,500 account Instagram. But like if you only have like 700 followers or whatever, and like they're like, hey, we'll give you this for free, just said, oh, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? Like what's some, yeah, okay.
Few micro influencer videos, I've learned that this content is known as UGC in the industry, or user generated content. Making it is primarily how the top earning micro influencers pay their bills. These micro influencers usually don't have huge followings themselves. Still, their content, which is posted on a given brand's account, can reach millions of people, and they can get paid.
Well, yeah, but the reason that it reaches millions of people is because that brand has 1 million followers, right? So Starbucks is like, hey, we have 1 million followers because we're fucking Starbucks. Can we use your thing? And then you might get a little exposure. Like, okay. And we don't know how many, you know, here's the thing. I wouldn't imagine that a whole ton of people are going to click on that reference link. But you know what? A good amount of them are. And the reality is that like a reason why you're probably not going to see like a huge substantial like, oh my God, there's so many people that are like following me now, but it's because their content probably isn't like that great. You know what I mean? Like it's not like an insult. It's just like, you know, people can struggle to like, you know, be interesting, or it takes a while to flesh your shit out to become a little more interesting. Like these are always the kind of things that happen, you know? It takes a while. And that's okay, but like that's probably why you're not going to see like these substantially like fucking huge views on anything. Honestly.
Megabucks for these brand deals. It's important to note that these micro-influencers are the exception to the rule that generally, the fewer followers you have, the fewer dollars you pull in. Most micro-influencers aren't making 6 figures if they're making any money at all. But videos where people boast about their sky-high rates and soaring earnings are viral in the micro-influencer space. These videos serve as inspirational materials for aspiring micro-influencers, as they also strive to be able to charge $500 for a post on their account that has 94 followers. When seeing some of these rates these micro-influencers charge, I can't help but question, yeah, you charge that much, but how many brand deals are you actually getting at that rate? Now, not to be snarky and talk down to people.
I did a brand deal. I got like a bit more than that, but you know, I didn't really care. It was cool. It was a nice payday.
With small followings, but there are a lot of people who I would consider to be outright delusional in this respect. Some micro-influencers have followings so small that they make me ask, who, pray tell, are you influencing exactly? Your aunt and your 5 friends that follow you on Instagram? That's not much of a platform to work with. I feel like I've seen this.
I feel like part of it's like, and that's the part of it's like the potential virality of any post. Like any post can potentially explode for literally no fucking reason. It's crazy how like these things work. And it's probably has something to do with that, why they might be willing to like, you know, I guess pay in some capacity a little more.
Mentality before. Many of these micro-influencers seem to be under the exact same spell as those who get caught up in multi-level marketing schemes. Not to generalize too much, but the demographic is nearly identical. Women who get sold the idea of being a girl boss. MLM folks constantly feel like they're cosplaying as a successful CEO of a Fortune 500 company. They're always on conference calls and business trips and pretend to live this lifestyle that is very out of touch with the reality that they're just peddling supplements out of their spare bedroom. In the same way,
or they got like a rich spouse or something. They just are fucking bored all day.
Micro-influencers are just regular people with only a handful of followers who pretend they're practically Addison Rae herself.
I am
They
Addison
plan
Rae.
out photo shoots,
My mom's fucking young Graveler. Gravy. Sorry.
schedule posts, and write business emails to brands that will never respond to them. You'd think this would be a small number of people that—
Is that what you're supposed to do? Am I supposed to reach out to brands and be like, "Hey, can I sponsor? Can you sponsor me?" I've never done that before. I've only had like a one or two brands reach out to me. I've never done that before. That's fucking weird, man. I would never have expected it to work like that. I guess I'm a fucking idiot, huh?
get caught up in this type of thinking. But remember that influencer as a job title, according to most recent surveys, is easily in the top 10 jobs most desired by Gen Z folks. This is no—
Well, yeah, because it's like a fucking easy job usually, honestly. Like, that's the fucking American dream. The American dream used to be, I'm going to go and I'm going to work a decent job. And they'd get paid better, of course. Back in the day, they'd pay you better for jobs. and and I'm gonna have a family, and now it's like I'm gonna be a fucking famous TikTok influencer. It's crazy.
Not to say you can't monetize a small following online. There is a rising group of micro-influencers who I believe have the highest potential for earning money. These niche internet micro-celebrities, as they are called, exist in a limbo between being full-blown influencers and being regular people. To their inner circles of fans, they are as important as Khloe Kardashian. Many of these influencers.
You know what is interesting though is that there are people who have like substantially fewer followers, and they're able to like really capitalize on that. There are like, I'm sure there are accounts with like 100,000 followers who are, they make as much money as like somebody with like millions of followers, just because they're better at marketing their shit, their product. They have a closer, tighter knit community, you know.
Influencers, however, have much more power than micro-influencers who only post cookie-cutter pastel New York City content on their Instagram feed. Niche content that reaches a very targeted demographic usually receives much more engagement than stale content intended to capture the dregs of a general audience. This is why I honestly believe that some niche micro-celebrities, especially those notable for working in specific industries, could generate income more effectively than others with a similar size following. If anything, this is where most real success comes from in the micro-influencer world. But still, most of these niche internet micro-celebrities are not making much money at all. While some of these micro-celebrities can leverage the parasocial relationship with their fans to sell specific products in their industry,
not everything is parasocial with their fans. All right, it doesn't make it necessarily parasocial just because they have like closer fans. Like parasocial is a little deeper than that, like where you feel like it's your friend. There is such thing as just like supporting a creator that you like and you're willing to buy their product because you like them. I wouldn't call that parasocial, right? Like I'll look up the definition, but parasocial, one-sided relationship. A parasocial, describing one-sided relationship, for example, celebrities and their audiences. Like, yeah, I don't know if I would call it like necessarily parasocial. I feel like that's not like a comprehensive definition. That's definitely not a comprehensive definition. Refers to kind of a psychological relationship experienced by an audience in their mediated encounters with performers in the mass media, particularly on television and online. Viewers or listeners come to consider media personalities friends. Yeah, that's what it is, where like you think they're friends. Like there's content creators that like you might like, you don't think that they're friends. You're just like, hey, I like this guy, I want to buy his product. That's different than thinking they're a fucking friend, you know?
Most niche internet micro-celebrities don't have that option. The realities of having a small following are hard to cope with, especially for people who find it hard to reach a large audience. While you can work with what you have as a micro-influencer, you will always be limited by the scope of your influence. Although the #1 thing I hear is to charge what you think you're worth, know that the market is very saturated. There is a greater supply of influencers than a demand for them. While you rightfully want to be paid for your labor, many aspiring influencers will gladly go without payment, and many brands will choose to work with them over you simply because it makes more sense financially. This is not to say it's impossible to ever succeed as a micro-influencer. Some people have.
Yeah,
I'm just saying the odds are against you. Anyways, I'm Robert Tolppi.
Well, a lot of people who are micro-influencers probably work like a day job as well, or you know, that they sell like fucking, they have an Etsy shop usually, these fucking women.
This video,
oh.
don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, I'll like
if you'd
it.
like
I'll
to show
like
a token of your support, check out my Patreon.
I'll subscribe.
And I hope you have a good week. Bye-bye.
I like Robert Tolppi. He's a cool guy. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.